If you are looking to stream with really high quality, high FPS and your budget for the whole setup it's around $1,000, this video is going to be the right one for you. Now, throughout this video, I will also explain to you some alternatives that you can do if you already have, let's say, a monitor or a keyboard or even a webcam. So this guide will be complete for you to understand what this setup is capable of doing at this price point, but also how to make it better depending on your situation. That's why it's important to watch this whole video. Now, if you're looking for a PC for $1,000, you can watch my $1,000 PC build video, or you will have in the video description my website where you can find the perfect PC build for your budget and your needs. You will have all the links to these components for this streaming setup down below in the video description as well. That being said, let's start. First, we are going to talk about the components for this system. If you don't know anything about PC components, don't worry about it. I will explain to you what these components are capable of doing. The first one being the CPU, the AMD Ryzen 5 5500. This is a 6-core 12-thread processor, which I would say is the minimum requirement for today's streaming. It's going to deliver a nice experience at 1080p and even 1440p depending on the GPU that you pair the CPU with. If you're looking for Intel, you're looking for the i3-12100F, but that one it's a 4-core 8-thread processor, so it's not going to be as powerful as this one when it comes to multitasking. For the motherboard, I picked the MSI B550M Pro VDH Wi-Fi. This is not the flashiest motherboard, but it comes with Wi-Fi included. You have enough M.2 slots. On top of that, you have BIOS flashback, which you may need for the Ryzen 5 5500. Now for the memory kit, I picked the Silicon Power RGB 32GB of RAM kit. This is 2x16. For streaming, I do recommend you going with 32GB of RAM. However, you can get away with 16GB of RAM as well, depending on the tasks that you want to run while streaming or the games that you play. But if you want to save up some money, go with 16GB of RAM. However, if you want to have a bunch of tasks open while streaming, then 32GB of RAM is definitely recommended. For the storage, I picked the Western Digital Blue 1TB of Gen 3 SSD, going for just $53 on Amazon. 1TB is the standard for gaming and streaming nowadays. However, this will depend on the type of titles that you play. If you're trying to stream a bunch of games that are heavy on storage, you might be looking for 2TB. But on the other side, if you're just looking for esports titles like Valorant and CSGO, then you might get away with 500GB of SSD and save up some money. That's why 1TB is the standard and you can't go wrong with this size. For the GPU, we have an incredible deal for the MSI RX 6600 XT. This one is going for $230 on Newegg, and it's a great 1080p high FPS GPU. You can also use it for some 1440p gaming, so if you want a 1440p monitor, feel free to go with one of those. However, it's more of a 1080p high-end GPU instead. It comes with 8GB of VRAM, which is great. I would recommend at least 6GB of VRAM for streaming, so 8 is more than enough. And I know that the AMD video encoder for streaming is not better than the Nvidia's one, however, it's not that far away, and for the same price, if you want an Nvidia GPU, you are getting the GTX 1660 Super. If you don't know about graphics cards, the 1660 Super is way worse than the RX 6600 XT, and you will be losing a ton of gaming performance. So yes, maybe the streaming quality on the AMD side is a bit worse, barely noticeable, in my opinion, unnoticeable for the human eye, and you get much better gaming experience. For the case, I picked the Bitfinex Nova Mesh SE ATX Mid Tower case. This one comes with 4 RGB pre-installed fans included, which is a life-saving for $65. A case with no fans installed, then you will have to add them yourself, which is going to be time-consuming on one side, and also it can get really expensive. So this case is great. It has great airflow, RGB, and a front mesh panel. For the power supply, I went with the Thermaltake Smart BM2 650W 80+ bronze power supply. This one is C-tier rated, meaning that it's going to be decent, and for this type of PC build, it's definitely not going to have any issues at all. On top of that, you get 650 watts, which is more than you need for the system, so if you want to upgrade something like the CPU or GPU down the line, you can do it, of course, depending on which CPU or GPU you are upgrading to. For the monitor, I picked the Gigabyte G24F. This is a 24-inch 1080p 180Hz monitor with an IPS panel for $160. Definitely a great price for this type of monitor. And like I said before, the RX 6600 XT is more of a high FPS 1080p graphics card, so you are looking for a 1080p high refresh rate monitor like this one. For the keyboard, I picked the Corsair K55 RGB Pro wired gaming keyboard. Now, I'm not a pro on keyboards and mice, however, it's really nice looking, and I've had Corsair in the past and it was definitely good quality. On top of that, the price is only $50, so really hard to beat. For the mouse, I picked the budget $17 HyperX Pulsefire Core gaming mouse. This one has some RGB on the logo, 2 buttons on the side. In my opinion, is all that you're going to need. However, if you need more buttons for your esports titles, then you're looking to spend more money on a more expensive gaming mouse. For the webcam, I picked the Logitech C920S. This one is a 1080p 30 FPS webcam, and honestly for $60 is the best that you can get, and we are working with a tight budget here. However, if you have a phone or a camera yourself, then you can use those, and trust me, they will probably have much better quality than the webcam, and you can set them up for streaming. Now, if your phone camera quality is not that great, then I do recommend you going with a webcam. It's going to be much more convenient and is much easier to set up as well. And last but not least, we have the microphone. I picked the Razer Sirion Mini microphone. I used to have that one for YouTube. I have a whole review about it that you can go ahead and watch in the top right of the screen. I believe that microphone has amazing quality and the price is $40. So in my opinion, the best budget microphone out there without a doubt. It's also nice looking, and for streaming, trust me, it's a good buying decision. Now, the total price will be around $1,000 to $1,050 depending on when you're watching this video and if prices change or not. That's why you have the links in the video description where you can check the latest prices for every component. Now, if you already have something, let's say like the mouse, or maybe you have a microphone, then the amount of money that you were going to spend on those products, you can spend it on the CPU-GPU combination, which is going to give you the highest performance increase. Especially if you already have a monitor, because you will be saving around $160, which can get you much better performance for gaming and streaming. Now, if you already have one of these, you will have the CPU-GPU combo alternative in the video description in case you want better performance for under $1,000 as well. And if you're wondering about this PC gaming performance, there is no game that you can't run at 1080p 60 plus FPS on average. And we are talking about even high demanding titles. So if you play esports titles, you will be able to run at above 200 FPS while streaming. And because you have a great PC all around, it's definitely going to be around that number. If you found this video helpful, leave a like and subscribe, but most importantly, hit that bell button so you get notified when I upload this type of content. And if you have any questions about this setup or just any PC build or Prebuilt PC, let me know in the comment section. I will try to reply as fast as possible. Thank you guys for watching, thank you for the support, and I will see you on the next one.